instituting reforms that were about investing in reentry. This is the work that we have done and the work we will do going forward. And again, I will not be lectured by the Vice President on our record of what we have done in terms of law enforcement and keeping our communities safe and a commitment to reforming the criminal justice system of America.
Aloha, this is Skye with FNN-Feminist News Network, that feminist news that's right for you. Welcome to Skye at the Vice Presidential Debate, watching it live and giving live reaction to what is going on. So, let's take a look at the last two questions and watch it together like live action style. And then we're going to talk about the debate. All right.
Thank you, Senator Harris. And I'd like to pose I'd like you to respond first to the question on our final topic, the election itself. President Trump has several times refused to commit himself to a peaceful transfer of power after the election. If your ticket wins and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power, what steps would you and Vice President Biden then take? What would happen next? You have 2 minutes.
So I'll tell you, Joe and I are, I think, particularly proud of the coalition that we've built around our campaign. We probably have one of the broadest coalitions of votes that you've ever seen in the presidential race. Of course, we have the support of Democrats, but also independents and Republicans, and Democrats, but also independents and Republicans.
She has a broad coalition.
7 members of
Biden has an ADOS assistant,
supporting our ticket.
but she doesn't.
We
Hers
have
is
the support of Colin Powell, Cindy McCain, John Kasich.
Colin Powell is a Republican. Why would you even fucking have
retired
him?
generals, and
he lied about the Iraq
security
War.
Experts and advisors are supporting our campaign. And I believe they are doing that because they know that Joe Biden has a deep, deep-seated commitment to fight for our democracy. And to fight for the integrity
take
of
down Venezuela,
to bring integrity back to the White House,
to attack
and so
Iran.
We believe in the American people,
to destroy Syria,
in our democracy. And here's what I'd like to say to everybody:
to
vote.
Destroy Yemen.
Please vote. Vote early. Come up with a plan to vote. Go to iwillvote.com. You can also go to
I'mNotForWar.com.
We have it within our power in these next 27 days.
Vote green.
To make the decision about what will be the course of our country for the next 4 years. And it is within our power, and
be nice if we had a Green Party president.
We will win. And we will not let anyone subvert our democracy with what Donald Trump has been doing, as he did on the debate stage last week, when again in front of 70 million people, he openly attempted to suppress the vote. Joe Biden, on the other hand, on that same debate stage, because clearly Donald Trump doesn't think he can run on a record.
It's suppressing the Green Party vote by the Democrats knocking out any Green Party people.
So I'll repeat what Joe said. Please vote.
And fighting against their
Senator,
vote
Vice
being
President Pence,
added
President
to the
Trump has
ballot.
several times refused to commit himself
It's on
to
the ballot
a peaceful
in
transfer of
Hawaii.
power after the election. If Vice President Biden is declared the winner and President Trump refuses to accept a peaceful transfer of power,
now here's
what would be
his
your
answer.
role and responsibility as Vice President? What would you personally do? You have 2 minutes.
Well, Susan, first and foremost, I think we're going to win this election. Because
Really?
while Joe Biden and Kamala Harris rattle off a long litany of the establishment in Washington, D.C., and establishment that Joe Biden's...
They're
been part
both
of
the
for 47 years,
establishment.
President Donald Trump has launched a movement of everyday Americans from every walk of life. And I have every confidence that the same Americans that delivered that historic victory in 2016, they see this president's record, where we rebuild our military, we revived our economy through tax cuts and rolling back regulation, fighting for fair trade, unleashing American energy. We appointed conservatives to our federal courts at every level. And we stood with the men and women of law enforcement every single day. And I think that movement of Americans has only grown stronger in the last 4 years. When you talk about accepting the outcome of the election, I must tell you, Senator, your party has spent the last 3.5 years trying to overturn the results of the last election. It's amazing. when Joe Biden was vice president of the United
We
States,
fought for
the FBI actually
the
spied
votes
on
and the chads
something like
during
that.
the 2000 election
there were documents
also.
released
Or
this
do
week
you
that
not
the CIA
remember
actually
how
made a
y'all
referral
suppressed the vote
to
then
the
too?
FBI documenting that those allegations were coming from the Hillary Clinton.
And Greg Palast says the vote
We've
is
all
being
seen
suppressed
evidence
everywhere.
with the
Thousands of
country
votes
through
already
for-
being
for
purged.
the better part of 3 years, until it was found that there was no obstruction, no collusion, case closed. And then Senator Harris, you and your colleagues in the Congress tried to impeach the President of the United States over a phone call. And now
When there's so many other things they could have impeached him on, which is beyond me. If they really wanted to impeach him, they
I think
could
we're going to win
have.
this election. President Trump and I are
Making
fighting
money
every day
off of the
in
White
courts to
House,
prevent
giving
Joe Biden
special
and Kamala Harris
favors
from
to the
changing
White
rules
House,
and creating this universal mail-in
Trump
voting
hotel
that created
to
massive opportunities for voter
politicians
fraud.
from out of the
We have
country
free
that
and fair
stay
election.
there,
We
all
know
kinds
we
of
have
things.
confidence
Not
in
to
it.
mention
And
what
I believe in all my
the
heart that President
son-in-law
Trump
is
will
doing
do
in
that for
Israel.
4 years.
You know, I've written all the questions that I've asked tonight, but for the final question of the debate, I'd like to read a question that someone else wrote. The Utah Debate Commission asked students.
It'd be nice if they
to
mentioned
write essays about what
Green
they
Deal.
would like to ask you. And I want to close tonight's debate
I
with the
haven't
question
heard
posed
one
by
talk about
Brecklin
that.
Brown. She's an 8th grader at Springville Junior High
What
in
is this
Springville, Utah. And here's
little
what
girl
she
gonna
wrote,
ask?
quote, "When I watch the news, all I see is arguing between Democrats and Republicans. When I watch the news,
When really they're a
all I
duopoly.
see is citizen fighting against citizen. When I watch the news, all I see are two candidates from opposing parties trying to tear each other down. If our leaders
And
can't get
leave
along,
the Green
how are
Party
the
out.
citizens supposed to get along?" And then she added, "Your examples could make all the difference to bring us together," end quote. So to each and
Both of
every
these
turn, I
parties
could take
ain't
a
about
moment
bringing people
and
together
respond
because they'll
to
use
Brecklin.
racism and
Vice President.
division to keep people
Brecklin, it's a
apart to
wonderful
control them. Bam!
And let me just commend you for taking an interest in public life. I started.
That's because the
following
life
news when I
around
was
her
very
is
young.
crumbling.
And in America,
Get it? What
we
the
believe
working
in
class
free
is
and
living
open
in a
exchange
different
of
world than you.
And we celebrate that. And it's how we've created literally the freest and most prosperous nation in the history of the world. But I would tell you that don't assume that what you're seeing on your local news networks is synonymous with the American people. You know, I look at the relationship between Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice who we just lost from the Supreme Court, and the late Justice Antonin Scalia.
Who would side with corporate
They were on
entities
polar opposites
more than
on the Supreme Court
she
of the United
would
States.
with
One
women.
very liberal, one very
But
conservative.
that's just,
But
you
what's
know,
been learned since
whatever.
her passing was the two of them and their families were the very closest of friends. I mean, here in America, we can disagree. We can debate vigorously, as Senator Harris and I have on this stage.
This ain't
tonight.
no Carville and
When the
his
debate is
wife
over,
type
we
of
come
bull
together as
crap
Americans.
where the Democrat
That's
is
what
married
people do
to a
in big cities and
Republican.
small towns.
This is real life, not
I just wanted to encourage
elites
you,
living
Brecklin.
their
I will
life.
tell you that we're going to work every day to have government as good as our people. The American people, each and every day, love a good debate. We love a good argument. But we always come together and are always there. For
But your
the
Democratic
times
Party
of
right
need.
now
We've especially
sucks.
learned that
Thank you,
through
Mr.
the
Vice President.
difficulties of this year.
Senator Harris, what would you say to Brecklin?
First of all, I love hearing from our young leaders. And when I hear her words, when I hear your words, Brecklin, I know our future is bright because it is that perspective on who we are and who we should be that is a sign of leadership and is something we should all aspire to be. And that, that brings me to Joe. Joe Biden, one of the reasons that Joe decided to run for president is after Charlottesville, which we talked about earlier. It so troubled him and upset him like
The
it did
elite
all
said jump
that
in the
there was
race
that kind of hate
do our
and
bidding.
division. What propelled Joe to run for president was to see that over the course of the last 4 years, what Brecklin described has been happening. Joe has a long-standing reputation.
That
of
was
working
his
across the aisle.
excuse to get in the
Working in a
race when
bipartisan
he was
line.
told to enter.
And that's what he's going to do as president. Joe Biden has a history
take up for
of
Wall
lifting
Street
people
and do
up
their bidding.
and fighting for their dignity. You have to know Joe's story to know that Joe has known pain.
Hasn't been
He's
a
known
working class man for over
and he has
50
known
years,
love.
so he wouldn't even understand
And so,
what is going on
Brecklin,
now.
when you think about the future, I do believe the future is bright. And it will be because of your leadership.
But there's a lot of
And it will
struggle to come,
be
Brooklyn.
because
A
we
lot
fight
of
for
struggle,
each
and you're going to
person's
have to
voice
get over
through
it.
their vote,
You're going to have to climb
and we
through
get engaged in
it.
this
You're going to
election
hope
because
that your education
you have the
can
ability
get you
through
there,
your
honey.
work and through eventually your vote
Thank you,
to
Senator
determine
Harris.
the future of our country and what its leadership looks like.
Thank you, Senator Harris. Thank you, Vice President Pence. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We want to thank also the University of Utah for its hospitality, and most of all, our thanks to all the Americans who watched this debate.
Well, that's the end. Okay. So now, while that's swirling, let's talk. What were they talking about in regard? Points were they talking about in regards to this debate? First off, they never mentioned anything about climate change, the Green New Deal, how the energy companies are losing money right now because of the COVID, but the pharmaceutical companies, Amazon and Google and Facebook, they're all making money, and how those entities need to be broke down, and there needs to be some kind of corporate intervention, and get rid of saying that corporations are people, because they're not. There needs to be a fix to the Glass-Steagall Act. The act, there's so many things wrong with the economy right now, until you want to just dribble about it. And then Pence talked about hacking the Supreme Court. Didn't Trump just brag about packing all these district and regional and appellate courts with over 200 Republican conservative judges? Now, if the Democrats or the Green Party wins, they need to be packed with socialist Democratic judges and get it repacked again, so people can get just and fair, equitable decisions and judgments and rulings made. I know, right? When they started talking about racial tensions, Breonna Taylor, Pence was looking down. Did you notice that? Did you notice that? He only looked up when it was time for him to start talking. And Kamala Harris, as a prosecutor, said that she had called that family. You need to call all the families you did wrong and gave bad rulings to. Okay, so Kamala Harris did say something that caught my ear and caught my eye and made me think about even attempting to maybe vote for her. And what was that? When she talked about ending private prison system, no more money bail. What else did she mention? Decriminalizing 420. Knocking it off of the Schedule 1. Now, she does that. There might be a reason for black people to vote for her. If she's ending private prisons and no money bail, she's really going after the vote of color now. Because because of what Biden was talking about, I ain't going to defund the police. She was talking reform, and then Pence called her by saying, you walked out on a police reform bill when they brought it up, so what are you doing now? So that was real cute, and she said nothing about it. Now, to me, it doesn't seem like anyone won the debate. If you had to say one did, it would be Kamala Harris stood up to Pence in his rudeness. Now remember to get your vote on, alright, and check your registration. I also noticed neither one was giving ending statements to do. Usually they get to do that. Maybe that's just a presidential thing. When Kamala Harris tried to defend herself, talking about she prosecuted murderers, sex offenders, and Big Bang, you know what? You didn't lock him up because you should have got Steve Mnuchin. And then maybe he wouldn't be attacking, telling LaJoy to get her to attack the mail right now. Yeah. So, while Pence is talking about a salon owner's shop burning down, which is horrible, he ain't talking about how he's helping them. You see what I'm saying? They are both of the same elitist, duopolis, allegory, high class, that it's not going to help the working class. And if you agree with that, leave your comments below and let me know at FeministNewsN@gmail.com. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. And remember, I'm that Soulful Progressive. One on Twitter, got that red of the day on Blogger. And I am that one team. That one team. And so remember, in this era of hate, you're going to hear more ambulances all over the place until things are done to take care of this virus and people that are suffering due to it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. Cornbread, muffins, and pies. Looking toward the brighter side.